You know when you see an old brick building or maybe a really beautiful stone wall and you just stop and look at it? There's something so solid about it, right? Stone and brick have this timeless strength, a kind of character that seems to get better with age. They don't just look good, they're built to last. So today, we're going to dive into what professional stone and brick masonry is all about.
All right, so here's the plan. First, we're going to get into what masonry actually is. Then we'll talk about why it's such a great, long-lasting investment. After that, we'll walk through the whole 5-step process from start to finish. We'll even decode the costs. And finally, we'll wrap up with maybe the most important part: how to pick the right person for the job.
Okay, first things first. What is masonry? You hear the term thrown around a lot, but believe me, not all stone and brickwork is the same. Not even close. At its heart, masonry is this amazing blend of art and science. It's the craft of using materials like natural stone or brick to do two things at once: make a place look incredible and make it fundamentally stronger and tougher. It really is the perfect marriage of form and function.
And this brings us to a super common point of confusion: veneer versus full brick. So on the left, you've got brick veneer. Think of it like a cosmetic skin. It looks like brick, but it's just for show. Now on the right, that's a full brick wall. That's the real deal. It's structural, it holds weight, it insulates, it's the whole shebang. Huge difference.
So now that we know what it is, let's talk about the why. Because we're talking about benefits that go way beyond just looking good. This is about more than just a pretty facade. The advantages here are, well, pretty fantastic. For starters, professional masonry seriously boosts your property value, and we've got some numbers on that coming right up. It's also way better at handling tough weather, it's super low maintenance, naturally fire and pest resistant, and because of its mass, it can even help with your energy bills. And on top of all that, the design options are basically limitless. And here it is, the financial kicker. This isn't just you spending money, it's a true investment. The National Association of Realtors found that you can expect to get a huge chunk of what you put into it back when you go to sell. Just let that sink in for a second. A 70 to 80% return on your investment. That's a massive number. It tells you that the market really values the quality, the durability, and that classic beauty that professional masonry brings to a home. Okay, so the benefits are clear. But how does a pile of stone or a pallet of brick actually become this beautiful finished structure? Let's walk through the whole process, step by step. Every great project follows these 5 stages. It all kicks off with a consultation to get on the same page about the vision and the budget. Then comes the fun part, picking out the perfect materials. Now, step 3 is critical, site prep. You gotta have a stable foundation. Then, the real magic happens in step 4, when the skilled masons lay every single piece by hand. And finally, it all gets cleaned, sealed, and inspected to make sure it's absolutely perfect. And that brings us to the question that's on everyone's mind. What's this all gonna cost? So let's talk numbers and break down what you can expect. Okay, let's look at some typical installed costs. A brick veneer wall will usually run you about $18 to $35 a square foot. That full structural brick wall, a bit more, maybe 30 to 50. A natural stone patio is in a pretty similar range. And then something like a retaining wall, well, that's usually measured by the linear foot, and the cost can vary a lot depending on how big and complex it is. So what makes those prices go up or down? Well, it really boils down to a few key things. The material you pick is a big one. Natural stone, for instance, is usually more than manufactured brick. Then you have how complex the job is, how big the project is, and of course, if you want any custom work like fancy patterns. All that stuff plays a part in the final price tag. So, we've covered the what, the why, the how, and the how much. But the last piece of this puzzle is the who. And honestly, choosing the right person is maybe the most critical decision you'll make. It really all comes down to this one question, doesn't it? How do you tell the true pros, the real artisans, from the amateurs? Because the end result, the quality of that work, it all rests on the skill of the person doing the job. So here it is, your checklist for finding a real pro. Number 1, they have to be fully licensed and insured. That's a total non-negotiable. You should always ask to see a portfolio of their work and check out some client reviews. Make sure you get a detailed written estimate, no surprises. And finally, a true professional is always going to stand behind their work with a solid warranty. So to wrap it all up, here's the big idea. When you hire a pro for a stone or brick project, you're not just doing an upgrade. You're making a long-term investment in the three things that matter most for any property: its strength, its beauty, and its value.
And that leaves us with one final thought. The outside of your home, it tells a story. It's the first thing people see. So the question is, with the timeless strength and beauty of stone and brick, what kind of story do you want your home to tell?